Hello， 各位大家好，我是大桥谢麦克。今天呢，直接带你来到意大利，好不好？本集成本稍微有点重，好不好？虽然比我那个重车摔车还少一点，没错，但是呢，直接带你们到意大利看一下 A 星我们 Alpine Star 的意大利工厂。There you go。好了，那这就是 A 星的其中一个办公室、工厂办公室，全部都坐落在意大利有一个城市叫做阿索罗。那这个城市呢，就是你可以看到，随时都可以看到那个在工厂区啊，一堆 A 星的工厂，就是他们起家的地方。OK， 那进去可能等一下有些地方好不能拍，那我就拍一下大概的一些选手的穿过的皮衣给大家看。OK。Let's go。
Detail here is the original sign. So from this was the original sign when the company started. That was the original logo, and so I'm sure you know already. But basically, the term Alpine Stars comes from Alpine Stella, which Italian for star, right? But the Alpine Stella is a flower that is found on the mountains off the back there, basically. So that's what the original logo was, and so this is also from 1963 on the front of the book.
Wow.
Okay. If you guys want to come inside. So as Francesco explained, Nikki, R&D is for research and development. So in this room here is where we do a lot of fitting for leather suits, basically. So where the room we're heading into is the CAD and drawing room for our racing leather suits. So everything from MotoGP, Asia Road Race, World Superbike, British Superbike, Moto America Superbike, the whole program, everything comes through here in some capacity, basically. So I can talk you through the process to make a leather suit first and foremost. So basically, this is the pattern room, fully working, and effectively, like I said, every leather suit will come through here. From the computers along there where the design process will be made. Then once the design is okayed, we go towards making a paper pattern. Now, to make one of our leather suits, it takes 36 individual measurements of a rider to make a custom leather suit. And from those measurements that we take, the pattern makers here make a paper pattern of 80 pieces. And that's what all the leather is cut out of, these 80 pieces. So then on top of those 80 pieces of leather, there's maybe another 75 components from elbow cups, Kevlars, threads, and all of these that bring everything together. So there's about 150 pieces that go into each one of these suits. So if we look here, what we have, this is Filippo Fairoli, who's a Moto3 rider. And so ultimately, once we have the drawing, make sure the logo dimensions, everything is really set before we head into production. You know, we're also building gloves here. And so this is a key part to see what the work in progress is. You know, the patterns are handmade, but then they're also electronically cut as well to help with accuracy.
他刚刚跟各位也有解释到，其实呢，它有点像我们就是客制化皮衣的部分，因为其实大家你看，就算连那么大的工厂，它都是先把标印出来，对位置，对在每个皮衣上啊，甚至车手专门的 logo， 它都会先确定好版型、大小，才开始进行制作。对，然后他刚刚也有讲到说，其实很多车手的东西啊，零零散散的，包括我刚忘记他讲的数字，反正呢，就是所有东西到最后合成在一个皮衣上面，包含 logo 啊，甚至还有它的各种不同的材质啊，可能他们的身形也好，超屌，好不好？这就是一个专业的，必须要该有的。 Okay.
So this is a Pecco Bagnaia suit.
Oh.
Basically. So this is the paper pattern. Like I said, 80 pieces go into it.
Oh, man.
We already have the logo placements. We have the ventilation holes.
Wow.
Sorted. So basically, you know, once we have the measurements and once we have the design, this is the next part of the process. So this is the pattern making department. We can't go too close to this because there's a lot of trade secrets inside there.
Yeah.
But effectively, this is where any production for a leather suit starts.
Wow.
The only point of difference with the Racing Absolute leather suit, or let's say the main points of difference, are that these suits are made completely to measure to the rider's measurements, while the Racing Absolute follows, you know, stock measurements, basically. They can be adapted, they can be, you know, they all start with a paper pattern much the same as this, just in different sizes, but that's the main point of difference. There's certain things with them, like let's say, for a MotoGP leather suit, the arms are constructed very angular for MotoGP because these guys, when they're off the bike, they're out of the leather suit quite quickly.
Yeah.
So the comfort to be walking around, like say in a paddock or something, isn't as required as like a track day rider like you or me, who, you know, I'm not going to have an assistant to get me out of my leather suit and to walk around. I'll be in it most of the day at the track day, you know. So these are the small points of difference, but the fact is the paper pattern from these leather suits directly translates to that Racing Absolute construction. And we can show you how in the other room, basically.
Wow.
So here, I mean, here is production.
Wow.
So we have the different lines of production, one for leather suits, one for gloves and things like liners and special products, and then the end line is for auto suits. So all of our Formula One suits, all of our NASCAR suits are made here. So at any given moment, these guys are working on all sorts of different things. Some of which I'll be taking with me to Malaysia tomorrow, basically. So there's 3 ways that we apply logos to leather suits.
Okay.
Basically, the first of which is with heat transfer.
Okay.
So this works best for the brighter colors.
Okay.
You know, much like heat transferring a t-shirt to actually sort of get the leather and put the color onto it.
Okay.
You can still ventilate it. It's not so thick, rather than have layers of leather, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to keep everything as thin and light as possible.
Okay.
It's not the only way that we do it, but it's certainly the most effective to make vibrant colors pop.
Yes.
You know, Todd, he is an Isle of Man TT racer, but this suit here, it's got the MGM sponsor, so I'm just guessing. Because the Macau GP is coming up, you know, where they race in Macau. So this is going to be for that race, which I think is coming up in the next weeks, basically. So this here, what we have, I think, is his the butt logo.
Okay.
And you're going to see how it's heat transferred onto the leather.
Okay.
Si applica sulla loggia. E adesso basta tagliarlo.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow. So the second heat is to stabilize the...
Basically,
Yeah,
and laundry cycles. Whereas for here, it's the abrasions and the frictions, especially when it comes to the butt patch, because you're moving around on the seat all the time. But basically what's happening here is it's been heat transferred onto, is that Lorica, the material? scusa, materiale lorica.
Si chiama lorica, sarebbe una pelle sintetica.
See. Okay, so it's a synthetic material, lorica, because it just bonds to the lorica better. And so effectively that's made a patch. And now because of the movement on the bike and everything, that will actually be stitched onto the leather suit. So this is actually just making a logo that will be stitched on. But some examples where the material is heat transferred on is, I'll find better examples, but say the color here. You know, so that's been transferred onto that.
Yes.
These logos have been transferred on, so they won't be stitched around. But we've put that onto lorica because it will be on the butt and it will be stitched around, basically, just to give it extra security.
Yeah.
Skilled hands again, see?
Yeah, it's really. Wow.
But if you imagine, you know, we have 11 riders in the MotoGP class.
Yeah.
We have another 3 in Moto 2. We have 8 in Moto 3. We have the complete Asia Talent Cup. We have the complete Red Bull Rookies Cup.
Yeah.
We have a comprehensive World Superbike program, Moto America, British Superbike. So if you can imagine the amount of suits that have to be in production, so that speed and that accuracy, you know, we have to keep moving. So yeah. Anyway.
Se avete tempo c'è il guanto di Mark.
So this is where he'll cut the paper patterns, basically. This is where the leather's cut. So this here is for, it looks like a special set of Marc Marquez gloves.
Oh, that's cool.
Ha preparato un logo sul logo sedere perché siamo senza tanta roba.
Esatto, anche possibile
Fare buchi.
Sì, sì.
This is the special gloves of Marc for Valencia, for his last race on the Honda. So yeah, the amount that these guys sweat, like even in the cooler conditions, they're still going to get hot because of everything else. So it's important, without sacrificing any of the protection, that we find a way to have a lot of ventilation in there as well, basically. But this, different to heat transferring, we actually have like a printing machine here that can embed into the leather. So this is white leather, and then everything can be printed into that, basically. So I can show you the printer, which is next door here. So this is for the more intricate details. A lot of riders have their own patterns behind their arms and everything there. So that's why printing inside the leather, you know, even on the Fabio Quartararo suit, it's a blue Yamaha suit, but that blue, well, it's white leather that's being printed Yamaha blue. So that's another different method, but whereas the heat transfer is really good for the brighter colors, the printing machine is really good for the intricate colors if they're not fluorescent.
Yeah.
So actually, this is interesting because I think these suits are going to be put in a bag this afternoon, and I'll be taking them to Malaysia tomorrow.
All of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
I never travel light. To any race, I never travel light. I'm always the last person to leave, so I'm always the one that's carrying the bags. I'll confirm, but yeah, so what do I take? A Marc Marquez suit, Enea Bastianini, Alex Rins, and also Raul Fernandez, basically. And so yeah, in this area here, this is kind of like the arrival and departure area of suits. So when suits come back for repair, they come to this finishing area, which we'll go to in a second, where they're evaluated if we can repair them, and if we can repair them, what needs to happen to do that. And in the same way that when suits are repaired or when suits are finished, they come here and they have a quality control check over. So make sure all the measurements are accurate as per how they normally are. So, you know, everything comes through here, be it new, be it old, be it crashed, be it you know,
Everything.
everything comes through this area here.
Wow.
And Veronica also travels to all of the MotoGP races in Europe.
Okay.
And she looks after repairs and modifications for the riders there as well. So it's really important to have a pattern maker that understands everything to be there to be able to repair as well, basically. So yeah, these are Nico Hulkenberg and Kevin Magnussen suits. So I guess they're going to be ready. They have 2 more races to go, one in Las Vegas and one in Abu Dhabi. The weekend after, So not this weekend, but the next couple of weekends after. Of a leather suit, but you know, you expect to have some abrasion.
Yeah.
And then of course you got to check and make sure it doesn't go through, but you can see in these instances the suit did its job. You know? So you take there's the abrasions here. This area is a really, you know, you tend to follow the same patterns for a crash. So you're either going to go on one arm or the other, but you're probably definitely going to end up on your on your rear, on your derriere. So basically, you know, in these areas, a lot of the time we'll put a double layer of leather, much as the same with the Racing Absolute suit and everything, because, you know, there's some areas where you need movement, and then there's other areas where you definitely need that abrasion resistance. So as you see here, though, that first layer hasn't been gone through or anything like that. So success, I think. We try wherever possible to find a way to upcycle. So a lot of our riders and things, they put together things utilizing sort of crash leather for sponsors and guests through the year. If you look closely here with all these skilled sewing machine hands, there's some really nice accessories that are knocking around as well, like little pencil cases and things used from it. But you know, as we head more towards sustainability and keeping an eye on no excess, we are working on ways to upcycle things. For example, a collaboration we've done recently with Balenciaga, where they've upcycled existing products that we have, where they've taken a few existing leather jackets from older collections and they've made you know, upcycled versions of them using different parts of different jackets to create something completely new. Now, it's not something we do officially at the moment, but you know, we don't like to waste materials, basically. So we'll always find a use, because we've got a pro-looking iron to get everything everything good. So now we can head through to the footwear department.